So OG Anunoby is a guy that's been speculated to be traded for a while. If I was the Toronto Raptors, I would never trade OG Anunoby because that guy's Defensive Player of the Year candidate. A guy that, if you guys have seen my channel for the last 3 years, I've expected OG Anunoby to break out into a premier two-way wing, which he already is. It's just the points where he would be like a 25-point scorer. There's not enough touches for him to be a 25-point scorer, which has led to people believing that that's why OG Anunoby would want out of Toronto, because Toronto would not be able to give him the touches he would desire to take his game to the next level. I personally believe that Toronto would get rid of other players before they move on from OG Anunoby, because imagine OG Anunoby and Scotty Barnes being the core for the next 10 years. You got two guys who are defensive menaces, and OG Anunoby is a guy that I love. People forget he's only 25. Okay, the guy's averaging 18.7 this year. And Zach Lowe came out in a tweet today and said some rather interesting information. OG Anunoby's having a career year this year. Arguably, in my opinion, the front runner for Defensive Player of the Year. The best perimeter defender in the league right now. And Zach Lowe sent out a tweet, or said something that the NBA Central tweeted, which was, the entire league wants OG Anunoby. Everybody wants OG Anunoby. If he ever gets traded, the price and picks are going to surprise people, because it might be on par almost with what the Cavs gave up to get Donovan Mitchell. So they're saying OG Anunoby will cost the team a similar package as Donovan Mitchell. As you guys remember, it was 3 unprotected picks, 2 pick swaps, Colin Sexton, Ochai Agbaji, Lauri Markkanen. And you're telling me, so it's going to be 3 picks, unprotected, 2 pick swaps, and players for OG Anunoby. That's why I don't know if someone's going to trade for our man, OG. Because OG at this point, his salary, he's on a great deal, okay? He's in the middle of that 4-year, $72 million deal, $18 million salary average. So, if I were, let's just put an idea out here. Because this isn't, if a team's trading for OG Anunoby, it's obviously going to be a team in the middle. In the sense that they're not going to be a rebuilding team, but they're a team that believes that if they get OG Anunoby, it's going to take them to the next level. And a team like that, maybe it's like the New York Knicks, and the Knicks hit them up and they're like, hey, we'll send you Quickly, Reddish, Toppin, basically every single one of our young guys. And then and they have 4 first-round picks. Could that be something that they do, where they send you, Quentin Grimes, Cam Reddish, Emmanuel Quickly, Obi Toppin, and those 4 first-round picks they have in the next, I think, 4 drafts or something like that, or the next 2 drafts, they send something like that. As a Raptors fan, would you be fine with that? I personally believe right here, looking at the Toronto Raptors, why would I trade OG Anunoby? If this is a team that's struggling, I don't think the Raptors need to rebuild. I personally don't think the Raptors need to rebuild. I think they just need to retool. And retooling is, maybe we move on from the older guys. I know Bleacher Report was over here saying, oh, DeMar DeRozan should be traded back to Toronto. And yeah, I mean, I don't think so. Like, I think you need to build around Gary Trent, who's young, Scotty Barnes. I wouldn't mind keeping Pascal, but I understand if you would want to say move on from Pascal. I personally think it's a retool. Let's go a bit younger, okay? Because the roster right now, if you look at everyone, I like the team, but let's just look at the age, okay? The age right now, there's a gap. Like, you got Thad Young. I think Thad Young, Kem Birch, maybe we move on. Okay, let's find some deals. Like, if this is a year where they're saying this year's washed, I still think this year can be salvaged. That's why I don't think you trade. But I honestly think Kem Birch and Thad Young, regardless of what you do, if you combine those salaries, that's $14.6 million. You could go out and get yourself someone like Gary Harris. Gary Harris would be huge for a team like this. And I just think at this point, after the season, there's going to have to be a decision to be made, because Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, Chris Boucher, Otto Porter, Kem Birch, and Thad Young, these are all guys that are either 28 or above. And then there's a once you pass them, it's Juancho Hernan-Gomez, and then it's everyone's under 25 or below, with Jeff Dalton, OG Anunoby, Malachi Flynn, Gary Trent Jr., Delano Banton, Christian Achua, Christian Coloco, Ron Harper Jr., Justin Shapenny, and Scotty Barnes. So right there, I think you have a young squad right there that, right there, from OG to Barnes, you have young guys. So I'm fine with Pascal and everything, but if you guys are looking to retool in mid-season, the guys that you should be looking to move is, I personally love Boucher, and I think losing Boucher would be too much of a loss, but Thad Young and Kevin Birch packaged together could get you something. And at the end of the day, though, if they were to go into this offseason saying that they wanted to move on from anyone who's close to 30 or over 30, I think it's Siakam, Van Vliet. I personally wouldn't even trade Siakam. I think it's Van Vliet, Birch, Young. Like, nothing against Van Vliet. I just think at this point, let's go get somebody else. That's it, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy today's video. Like, comment, and subscribe.